What's good with the YouTube, y'all? We know Big Flocky with the convict's perspective, and I'm gonna smash that. Slide on through that little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel, and hit that bell notification for future fire content. We got a good one, man. Um, Today, as you can tell by the title, we're gonna talk about an order hit that I was able to fucking diffuse of, man. That I was able to stop before it happened because it was the wrong call, man. It was the wrong call. Okay, so bear in mind, man, like people that don't know me, I was involved in the street politics out there in San Jose. Was heavily in the mix. I had my own jurisdiction, I had my own crew, all kinds of things on separate different times, man. I worked with other regiments, other carnales, worked under the GOP, worked with Salinas. You know, I had the experience, man. So in 2005, I had things kind of flowing pretty good, man. I had recruited some people as insulados. I had some people from different areas, and things were going pretty good. Then the drought happened, and a lot of shit happened. I ended up getting locked up. So when I get out, though, right, I touch down like always, sit to get things in motion, get in contact with who I need to get in contact with. Um, I was in contact with the streets during that time period, but some of the communications were kind of, you know, I can only say so much when I'm behind the walls. If it didn't pertain to the streets, they didn't need to know shit. But I would keep in contact anytime a matter was presented on my plate. Now, the first thing I found out within about a week or two was that there was a green light being put on someone that I knew, which was Filipino Goose from San Jose. Now, I was also being requested to potentially be involved in taking this dude out, right? Basically, the hit was being passed. I was one of the persons that was supposed to be involved in doing this hit. A lot of this green light was coming from Lencho, Wino, and I think maybe even Stigma Kramer, right? Because his squad was the one that was getting at this dude. So I touched down. I get told this, all right. I said, well, let me know. So now they had sent dudes like Chone, Shorty, and other individuals over to the spot, right? Let me took this down. Let me put this on mute. Over to where he was kicking at. Now Goose was over there kicking at a spot right there in Milpitas. The pine side at some Broad's house. It was pretty known. It was a two-story house. Anybody been out there in Milpitas, it was basically a fucking tweaker spot, man. It was actually even a spot that I really didn't have anything to do with business activities because it was just too hot. But at this time, I decided to intervene because well, as soon as I heard Goose's name, um, I remember Goose. I remember Goose from Mikey Stryker, and then when we went to go pick up some debts for him back in 2003, me and the homeboy D, we had, like I said, at that time we had a whole squad of dudes that you guys all know from San Jose, man, from like Kojak to fucking Roper to fucking Young Buck. All these dudes were working with our squad, and I was reporting to Salinas. So I remember this individual helping us acquire a debt. He was a homeboy. He was cool. So I'm hearing that he was allegedly kicking it with New Flowers. Once again, false information regarding the Flowers, and that they were trying to put a green light on him and David Lagon. Now they were saying that they were at a trailer park in Aviso, right? So I'm waiting to get the feedback, and it's just not making sense to me, right? And I'm like, okay, so bam. Shorty had gone over there, Chone, Trigger, all these dudes had tried getting at him. They didn't get nowhere. I heard, right? So I said, you know what, man? Let me go personally. I'm gonna go deal with this shit. So I think I told Shorty Clark or someone, tell them I'm gonna go over there and deal with this, not to intervene. So I went over there and I talked to fucking Goose and shit. And he's like, man, he goes, they're trying to find me. They're telling me fucking either pay this money, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pay it. I did nothing wrong. He goes, one of the dudes, he's talking about Shorty. He goes, he was over there fucking with a pipe falling out of his hand and his gun dropping while he's trying to fucking get at me. He goes, fucking, he goes, Flax, I know you. He goes, I know what you about. He goes, I didn't know that you were out. And so I started interrogating him a little bit. And I'm like, okay, well, who were you with in Alviso? What area? Then I found out the only place he had been in Alviso was at my current old lady's house at the time, who lived in Alviso, right? Now, I lived in a threeplex in Alviso. Downstairs, we had the whole thing. It was all us. Upstairs, it was two separate houses, right? Now, one side was some Cat Magoo. He was just a tweaker. And then on the other side was Mary. Now, Mary had a baby with David Lacone, Gonzalez's brother. So what? And okay, and at that time, my lady at the time, this before I got with her, she had a dude that was renting a room from her that I knew from Alpitas that kicked it with Goose in them. So what ended up happening? This dude had people come over, which was Goose and all them. Upstairs, they were partying. David Lacone and all them. They all met each other. And they just started playing dice and games and tweaker games, basically. And so all that information got put out there like he was kicking it with some fucking, you know, a degenerate gang pushing New Flowers. When he was not, he didn't even know nothing about it. Goose didn't know really about the politics as far as who was who, really. As far as on the elite status, he just knew certain people he plugged into and he was about making his money. And so he had no idea that this dude, who wasn't even a New Flower, he was a dude that Lencho was really pushing the issue on. Allegedly over a murder that maybe he testified or made the wrong comments. Lencho was pushing the envelope on this cat. So it seemed to be a little bit too personal. So I gather all this information. I get at my lady at the time. She confirmed it. Yeah, he came over a couple of times. And so fucking, I heard all this and shit. Now these guys are trying to fucking have this dude's cat peeled. They're trying to whack him. Now you got to remember, I just touched down out there. Now I was out there before fucking Sammy and before fucking Kramer and all them. And I had been doing a lot of stuff, right, that, you know, I had already been involved in one issue to where Sammy had to cancel his vacation trip because there was a stabbing that happened over there in the BRS neighborhood, where a homeboy from BRS got stabbed by some cats from BES, and Cyclone from Capitol Park was there, and he was supposed to be working under either Sammy or Kramer or one of them. So I had to have a meeting over that, and it got some other people in trouble because they were trying to cover for certain people. I think it was Kramer was, and then I was fucking holding my stance against Kramer when I was talking to Wino and them, like, nah, fuck that, this dude fucked up over here. Bear in mind, these dudes had been involved in the mix a lot longer than me, but I had been out there in the streets being more productive. You know what I'm saying? I've done paid my dues. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give the respects I have coming, and there's nothing more to it. And Sammy actually had to stop his vacation plans for that weekend and leave later over that. Now here's a whole new issue. They're trying to have some dude killed that should have never been killed. And I went and I voiced my fucking opinion. And I didn't back down from it. I said, this dude's going to be cleared, and if there's anybody that has a problem with it, fucking let's have this little talk because there's nothing he did wrong. And then after a little bit of campaigning, they tried to request a fine, and I said, there's no reason for him to be fined. I go, right is right, wrong is wrong. So next thing you know, Goose is cleared with no fucking fine, right? We go from potentially trying to kill this dude, right, to now he's being cleared. But in the process of all this happening, I made a lot of enemies politically, okay? Kramer wasn't happy, even Lencho wasn't happy, you know? And that was talked about later on. As you guys probably know from the previous episode, there was a time period when they were requesting to have me whacked over false information. And at least Pocky from Salinas was sharp enough to sit there and stop it from happening. And I was wondering why there was a couple of issues that I was having to get the cold shoulder over. But see, the whole purpose of this video today, man, is just to show people what this life's about. You know what I'm saying? Treachery, money, false information gets you fucking whacked. You know what I'm saying? By all means, if I would have been in a position to have to whack this dude at that time, where my mind was at, back in those days, I would have whacked him, not without a doubt. But like I asserted in the Frank Gucci spill, I always was one to stand up and do what was right, man. I never hesitated to fucking speak out for a soldado that was being done wrong or mistreated. And this was a prime example of someone who was being categorized as something he wasn't, who they were trying to fucking tax him and abuse him, basically extort him for something he didn't do. And I went in there and fucking spoke my mind. And for that, Goose helped me out with so much shit afterwards, man. He respected it. And see, that's what people don't realize. You treat your people right, they're going to go to bat for you. Goose was showing me love. This is when the fucking PS2 came out for the first time and Xbox 360, and I had all that shit, man, because they were running credit cards at the time. But at one time or another, they almost took his life. You know, David Lacone kind of disappeared. And see, there was a lot of dudes that they were trying to get at that time, man. You know, the other one was Huicho Gonzalez. Now, that's another one that would have been hard for me to even being remotely involved because I had a relationship with Richo, man. But you know, this situation with Goose, what ends up happening is later on my situation arises. He ends up going to the county jail, and they elected to put him on freeze because I'm the one that cleared him. Even though everything was presented, everything was right, they decided to mistreat him for the reasons being that Lencho fucking was pissed off that fucking he got backlash on that. And I think Lencho had a lot of animosity towards me because of the other issues I tried to push. But the one that I won, which was a real delicate one, you're talking about someone's fucking life. You know, and I'm like, fucking, it's not like Lencho's gonna go do it. If he's gonna go whack this dude, then fuck it. If you really feel that strongly about it, go be about it. But I'm not gonna have some youngster go kill this dude, or I'm not gonna go fucking kill this dude and get a life sentence for something that this man fucking didn't do. It just isn't gonna happen. And that's what happened, man. Seemed like around that time they were trying to have me. They wanted me to be involved in all kinds of fucking hits and murders going on out there at that time, man. There's a few things I won't talk about, but there's a lot of shit going on at that time, man. This was also around the time when there was a little bit of resistance towards Salinas and Paki at that time. And so a lot of dudes were trying to basically make their own decisions and choices as opposed to whatever Paki was saying. Paki was claiming incommunicado. We were trying to do our own thing and felt that we had enough manpower out in the streets that we would be able to fucking withhold fucking Silas's control. Later on, they sent a squad up in. Later on, they went up in there with a squad outside talking about, if I'm not out, within 30 seconds, come in here and start shooting. True story. Anyways, this is a quick spill, man, for you youngsters out there, man. Be careful about that life, man. As you can see, it's very treacherous, man. A lot of betrayal, a lot of disloyalties, a lot of false promises, and a lot of dudes get crossed up for shit that they don't even do, man. And there's also those that want to spin the narrative and try to put shit up on you because they got their own fucking shit in their own backyard. That said, it's your boy Flacco. I'm gone.